Let's get one thing straight. So many of you were asking how to get the Enforcer shotgun. Well, the only way is to have had Warlords of New York pre-ordered back when that was a thing. That way, if you start a new character and skip to the Warlords expansion, then it'll drop in your inventory ASAP. I know this is not something you want to hear because a lot of you are fairly new and weren't even around for the expansion back then. Either way, I still felt it necessary to make this build because of how great the weapon is. Some of you actually asked me to make one for it. So for those of you who have the shotgun, then you're in luck. Not to say that you who don't have it are SOL, because this build also applies to all other shotguns. That's why I call it the king of shoddy builds. In general, it's just a beast.
An agent needs assistance. Rogue. Hive detected. Vital signs critical. Agent down.
Got a visual on additional hostiles in the memorial compound.
Serious trauma detected.
The nature of shotguns are supposed to make you feel powerful. They're to make you run through mobs like a freight train so that nobody can stop you. And the problem is that with traditional shotguns, one that is slower but hits really hard, for example, this doesn't necessarily allow you to live out that fantasy because of its lack of fire rate. On the flip side, you got something like the ACS-12 that will rarely be strong enough to get the job done while attempting to run through enemies. So this right here, the Enforcer has both. The best of both worlds with its damage and fire rate. And out of all the builds I've made with shotguns, I've never had this kind of success in PVE. This weapon isn't even expertise nor optimized, but the gameplay made it look as such. It hits harder than the Super 90 and the reload is like the 𝐞𝐫. So this gun is made for a rush type burst damage playstyle by nature. And this is why I struggled a bit trying to decide which way to go with this in terms of gear. I think you'll be satisfied with the way I chose to run it. And trust me, it isn't the only way. I just decided to go this route first, and I'll tell you the other build variant as well. So here it is. Now, when I asked in the community post I made a couple days ago what kind of build I should make with the Enforcer, a lot of the suggestions were between Striker and Hunter's Fury. At first, I went with a Striker 3-piece, then surrounded it with crit. But I mainly wanted it for the fire rate and weapon handling to get even more than it has already. But that was a mistake, because it feels like you have Striker even without using it. That's how great this weapon is. So I said to myself, why not double up on shotgun damage by using Hunter's Fury? Not the 4-piece though. Only 2 for the shotgun and SMG damage bonuses. And I know that Apex Predator gives you crazy damage and disorients enemies every time you kill them, but I didn't want to go that route. 4-piece gear sets just seemed too simple for me sometimes, and I wanted to switch things up. Because not only was I able to double up on shotgun damage, but I doubled up on SMG damage while increasing the crit damage. The 2-piece 𝐸 gives me both, and crit damage is the #1 attribute that makes SMGs very powerful. And with this build, how I set it up, I'm almost maxed out there. So far, I have 2-piece Hunter's Fury, 2-piece 𝐸. I'm sorry to interrupt, but YouTube notifications are terrible, so I had to take matters into my own hands and let you know what I got going on. I came here from my second channel, Identity Games, and would love it if you could support me there as well. A total different vibe you'll get, and the best thing is that you don't even have to leave this video. Just click this link and subscribe, but make sure that afterwards you come see me over there. Identity Games is a game dev channel where I'm developing my own project, an open world RPG looter shooter. Check it out and let me know what you think of it. Then for the chest piece is Badger Tough. That's what gives me another 15% shotgun damage, but it's not the named one with Perfectly Unbreakable. I decided to go with Spotter. That way I can still get some amplified damage out of it since I don't have Apex Predator. And you can attach the Technician Laser Link to both weapon types. Certain SMGs, as you know, have long barrels too, and that's why I'm using Technician Specialization. Of course you know I'm using the Enforcer and it has the long barrel obviously. I'm telling you man, this combo with the Enforcer just shreds everything. Perfect Pummel is the talent and that's a big reason why. All you need is 2 kills to activate it, so you'll be seeing this symbol pop up all the time. It comes in clutch most times than not, because my armor's not that high, so sometimes I find myself low on health and Pummel just comes through, especially if Vigilance is up, because when taking damage it goes away temporarily. I'm using it on my Grupo backpack. That's for the crit hit damage, of course. You can get 27% max with just one piece, which is insane. And now you see all the crit hit damage properties I have with the brand sets, right? That's why that stat is almost maxed out. But I believe that Vigilance is better when you're running solo only. If you're with a squad, then you should no doubt be using Opportunistic. That amplifies all damage to whichever enemy is being affected by this talent by 10%. So if your squad mate hits that enemy with a sticky bomb, for example, while Opportunistic is up, that sticky bomb's damage is amplified by 10%. And this goes for anyone else on your team that hits them with something else. So you'd be crazy not to run Opportunistic with a team. But I wonder, does that talent work if it's only you? Can your stuff be amplified if you're the one activating Opportunistic? Let me know down in the comments. Before I show you the stats, let me briefly go over what skills I'm using, because honestly, you'll be killing enemies so fast that you'll only really be using the skills as a deterrent to distract NPCs long enough to kill them. A great one for that is the decoy, of course. Then secondly, I use the EMP sticky bomb, a favorite of mine, so I can knock them off balance, which also gives me an opportunity to take them out. So remember I said I'm almost maxed out with crit hit damage, right? Well, check out the stats. Just about 20 away from 200%. And the crit hit chance is lower than you would normally see it, but that's okay. You know, crits on shotguns work differently than other weapons. The pellets have a lot to do with that. Each one shoots out any one of the many can be a crit, and all of those shoot out towards the enemy at once. This is why it's called burst damage. You get a higher chance to crit than most other weapons. And lastly, that special briefing, what did you think of it? Was it a game changer or just another filler by the devs? Other than that, tell me what you think about this build or what you do different. I really enjoy reading your suggestions and comments. I appreciate y'all watching to the end, and I'll catch you in my next video. Be right out.